Thing that motivates us. It's all about contributing to our well-being, to our wellness in life. And my opinion is that if we live a life with purpose, we're already halfway there.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to Wednesdays with Wallis. It's going to be a great show today, kiddies. We're going to talk about, look at my notes here because I wrote it down. I was thinking about this whole thing around loneliness. So I thought, and I've been hearing a bit of that this week. So I often talk about in my Wednesdays with Wallis, things that I've heard, things that people are saying, discussions that are being had between myself and other people. And that's come up a lot. Pardon me. It's come up because there are people my age, and I'm 77, and there's people my age and people older and younger that are, saying things like if they're living on their own, that they get lonely, that, they have these times when they're lonely. They're not lonely all the time, but they do have times when they're quite lonely. So if I dig into that a bit, so today's thing is there's no excuse for loneliness. Oh, and you're probably thinking to yourself, holding your head and going, oh, that's a load of rubbish. What about, people in nursing homes that are lonely and nobody comes to see them, and they never get any visitors, and, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to address that. I want to talk about that because I want to share the sorts of things that I've learnt over the years about this whole thing about loneliness. And I want to break it up a bit into some different parts. First of all, I want to say that the people that I've been talking to, when they're busy, when they've got things to do, when they're looking for, when they're really in it, when they're pursuing a purpose or pursuing a passion or they're pursuing things, then this whole concept of loneliness doesn't figure into it so much. They might have some other issues in relation to when they stop and they're not so busy, etc., etc. But we won't get into the finite details today of the mind and psychology and why that exists and how that exists and what my particular beliefs are on that. Incidentally, click on the link below. Our subscribers are growing slowly but surely, and click on the link for our TikTok link. Can you believe that? We are now on TikTok, and I'm having a little bit of a rant and a rave on TikTok about, life and getting older to younger people. I'm talking to younger people particularly about aging and getting older and the sorts of things that are a bit of a bummer, but, it's part of getting older and we weren't given a, manual for that. But back to this idea of loneliness. So loneliness obviously is greater for people when they are not so busy and they are not occupied in doing things. This other idea or this other concept that we have that people in nursing homes are lonely, and there's a lot of very lonely, the picture painted is of older, very lonely people that nobody comes and sees and nobody visits and, et cetera, et cetera. Well, one is that there are a lot of people around. There are people around in nursing homes. There's the staff, there's other people that are there. People meet up at meal times in a community situation. There are things that are offered, and they're not just sat in the corner. You're not sat in the corner and left on your own. That's not true. That is not it. The other thing about loneliness I want to cover off on is that if we take responsibility for our own lives, if we take responsibility for who we are, what we're about, what floats our boats, what are the things that we like or don't like to do, etc., then really we don't need to be lonely. Because if loneliness is offset by being busy and having some things to do, then we can find things to do. We can amuse ourselves. We can have a hobby. We can have something that we pursue that we really like. We can get people to come and take us, if we're in a nursing home, to come and take us out for outings or go out to things or organise things. You can do those things. The bottom line is that don't get into blaming society, the system, and other people for what you don't have. I don't want to hear you doing that, because that is just simply not true. It's not true. And the reason it's not true is because if you're responsible for your own life, and you are, then you can change that. You can make that something different for yourself. Now, I'm not going to get into whether you've been doing this so long it's grown on you like a wart or something and you can't get rid of it. You're not a tree. You can move. You're not planted. You're not a big tree stuck in the ground who's got his roots or her roots way down into the earth and can't move. You can move. You're not a tree. So you can move around, and you can do things, and you can get involved in doing other things. You don't have to be stuck. It's all about whether you want to be stuck or not, or whether you've just gotten so used to being stuck that that's it. You don't know anything else. Well, I've got good and bad news for you. The good news is that you can change that. You can move out of that. You can make that anything you want. Bad news is that you are going to have to want it. You cannot sit there and bitch and whinge about what other people aren't doing, or who doesn't turn up, or why they don't turn up, or when they do turn up, and live with that scenario. That's a load of nonsense. It's a load of rubbish. Kick it to the curb. You don't need it. Now, on from that, before I go, I want to mention about the Bold Not Old community, or as someone recently said to me, call it the Bold Not Old Society. Well, maybe that's it too. I like the whole, idea of society. I like the connotations of that. Bit like, a society club or something, exclusive membership to something that's amazing and wonderful. So the Bold Not Old Society, and I don't mind being a bit elitist about things. Why not? We get singled out anyway as we get older and we age. So if we're being singled out, well, let's single ourselves out and create something unique and different and a bit elitist. After all, we do belong to an elite group of people, and they're the people that have gotten older, that have aged, and brought with them all their skills and knowledge and understandings and all that wonderful thing with them. So there's absolutely no need to sit back and feel that you're unimportant or you don't matter, or you don't have something really going for you, because you damn well do, kid. You damn well do. And so, having said that, I want to plug the Bold Not Old membership, Bold Not Old Society, and it's about bringing your ideas to the table. It's a weekly webinar, or it entails a weekly webinar, and there'll be other things available. There'll be a library of videos. If you miss something, don't worry, because if you miss it one week, it'll be videoed and it'll go into a library, and you'll be able to download it as a member and watch it if you missed it, or you'll be able to download it and watch it again if you want to. And it'll be fabulous because everybody joining in on the webinar will put forward ideas, and those ideas will be talked about. If they've got something that they want to learn or understand about certain things, then those things will be covered as well. So the thrust of it, if you're thinking to yourself, but yeah, what is the membership about? Well, one is it's about us being a community. It's about people 60 plus bringing ideas and maybe something that they want to do, a business they want to pursue, a hobby that they'd really like to get up and running, and maybe, they've thought about it's a hobby and they'll get that up and running, but it may well be a nice little business or a nice side hustle for yourself. So it's about taking your ideas and your passions and your dreams and your plans and taking it to the world with your unique understandings and everything that you currently have. Now, don't tell me you don't have them, because I could give you a lecture for the next, hour on the fact that you do, and it's a load of nonsense that you think you don't. Nobody has your experience, nobody has your uniqueness, and nobody can present it in the way that you do, and that makes it highly desirable. And there's a whole group of followers for you out there, regardless of whether you're, raising chooks, putting in plants, maybe you've got a horse farm. I don't know what you're doing, but there's something in there that you can teach other people and you can build a nice following out of. And as a result of that, you could earn yourself additional income and, put yourself in a position where you've got some additional dollars as you age and as you get older. So you don't have to worry about your little nest egg over here and that it's not going to last you, because the fact is it probably won't. So this is not a bad idea for you to be looking at something that's going to help you earn some additional dollars. Click on the link below, go to Bold Not Old, join our membership. We're releasing it over this next few days, and that will be beginning officially in August, early August, about the 14th. And you can become part of that. That's when we'll start our first webinars, and you can be part of it. It'll be fabulous. It's not going to break the bank. It's going to help you, teach you things, and it's a wonderful, wonderful membership to be part of. Why not? So click the link below, go and take a look at Bold Not Old and look at the information on it and the things, and there's a freebie there for a 20-minute free session with me. We're just finishing off some of the techno stuff, so if you happen to roll over there and there's a couple of things you can't find, don't despair. They will be up and running by next week really, really well. We're just tying off some loose ends and some techno stuff that we've just got to put in place before we actually officially launch. So take a look at our TikTok, because we also have a little, or I also have a little bit of a rant on there as well. See you next week. Thank you for joining me on Wednesdays with Wallis, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.